Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com. Welcome to the podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today, I've got the good fortune to be joined by Wilson Zehr of Zairmail. Wilson, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Seth. Really appreciate it.
Glad to have you. Let's go back in time a little bit. How did you get started in the business?
That was a great question. I spent my career in technology, worked on a couple of different startups, venture-backed startups, and then we were working on this idea of convergence. You know, when the internet was first getting started, making services, legacy services, work with the internet, and we came across this advertising application with direct mail. And we thought, you know, we could use the internet to make it faster, easier, more effective. And so we spent a lot of years doing that.
Awesome. And tell our viewers and our listeners how Zairmail came about.
Yeah, Zairmail just once again, it was you know, it's this idea of convergence. So we worked on a system that did internet telephony. So we did a company called eFusion, and worked on setting up applications so that you could do voice over the internet. So we were one of the early pioneers in that space. We looked at fax services. We looked at free email. And in fact, when we first started out, our venture capital partner was Draper Fisher Jurvetson. And DFJ was known for doing Hotmail, eFax, bunch of services like that. So we started out to do mail, U.S. Postal Service, you know, letters, postcards, self-mailers, things like that. And we wanted to make doing mail as fast and easy as sending email.
Well, that would be phenomenal. Tell me more about that. What does Zairmail do? How does it pull that off?
Well, so Zairmail is, first of all, Zairmail's not like my last name. It's like Airmail, AIRMAIL.com. So it's Airmail with
it's Airmail. I thought it was Zairmail. I apologize.
No, it's like Airmail with a Z on the front. And so with Zairmail, you can you just upload a document, upload a list. You see a proof of what's going to be produced in real time. You like what you see, you're in the mail tomorrow, the next day, at a fraction of the cost. We also have oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. It looked like you were going to say something.
I was. Okay, so who's doing the printing and stuffing and stamping and fulfillment?
The production is all done through a network of fulfillment partners that we have. And so that's one of the advantages of Zairmail too, is that these are all the production, you know, printing, folding, inserting, addressing, mailing is all done by commercial production facilities. It all goes directly into the U.S. Postal Service business mail entry in it. It's all barcoded and tracked and well behaved. Because we have facilities in different parts of the U.S., we can also move the mail as far as we can electronically before we turn it into paper, which speeds things along. In addition, because we have a network, we have almost unlimited capacity. So if you, and it's very fast. So we can get jobs, you know, if you want to send out 50, 100,000, 250,000 pieces and you need it in the mail tomorrow, we can do that. And I'm the only one, we're the only company I'm aware of that can.
That is absolutely incredible. So can I specify, like, what if I don't want bulk? Like if I want a first class stamp on it, can I do that?
Yes, and in fact, most of the mail that we do is first class. We do bulk. This postal service keeps trying to rebrand it. I think that these days it's called marketing mail. Before that was standard A. Before that it was bulk or even junk mail. But but standard A, we do it too, and it's less expensive. But people who use our service usually want things delivered fast. And if you want them delivered fast, first class mail is the way to do that.
We've also found that we get better results if we send first class with a stamp on it than if it's got a bulk rate indice on it. It seems to get a higher consumption rate from our perspective, because it probably looks like real mail.
Yeah, it's true. Most people see an uplift if they use color. They see an uplift if they use a live stamp. There is a difference in cost though, so that's the
Yes.
trade-off. If I'm doing first class, even first class pre-sort, I'm probably saving a dime a piece, 10 cents a piece. And that pre-sort is really, for those who aren't familiar with mail, pre-sort means that we take the list, we run it through the National Change of Address database to make sure that, if somebody's moved, we capture that. We run it through something called CAST to make sure the address is deliverable. We lay down a barcode, and then we sort the mail in carrier route order. So by the time it gets to the US Postal Service, it's all organized, ready to go on a truck and ready to go out for delivery. So that's one of the reasons why it's so fast. But because we do that, it's called work sharing. The Postal Service gives us a discount, which is a pre-sort discount. If I use a live stamp, the two things happen. One is I have to use full rate retail postage, but secondly, I have to put the stamp on each envelope, which takes some labor time. So we have clients that do it both ways. Like most things in direct marketing or in marketing in general, the only way you can tell for your audience is just to test. You send 1,000 one way, send 1,000 the other way, and look at the cost versus the return and see which makes most sense. Although I will say there's some cases, like for example, we worked on a school bond measure here in Eastern Oregon. And what we want to do is be able to hit in Oregon, all elections are mail-in. But we know from working with the state, we know when those would be mailed. And since we deal with a lot of mail, we know when they're mailed, the approximate time they're going to be delivered. If we know that, we can also come up with an appeal to the voter, and we can make sure we're in their mailbox the day before or the same day they get their ballot.
That's awesome. You said it a fraction of the cost. Fraction of the cost of, forgive me, what?
Fraction of the cost of trying to do it yourself or some traditional mechanism. I mean, for a lot of our customers, maybe that wouldn't even be an option. You want to send 2,500 pieces. Most commercial printers aren't going to get excited about working on a job like that. And certainly they're not going to give you discounts for that. But because we have the production network, you're working, we're able to aggregate those volumes and we get be able to spread that discount across our entire customer base.
Awesome. And then is it doing, like, do I need to upload a file ready to print, or let's say, is it doing the mail merge stuff for me?
The system will support a native Microsoft Word mail merge. So if you upload a document with mail merge fields in it and a list, we'll show you proof of that and we'll do the merge on the back end. If you upload something like a PDF that has merge fields, PDFs don't really do mail merge, but we have a system in place that just deals with that. So you submit it, you approve the proof on the back end, we recreate the document in a program like InDesign. We do the mail merge. We give you samples to a pre-approve, and you approve those. They're in the mail. So yeah, no, it's all set up to be really pretty seamless. The other thing is, because we're going through this production process, we actually look over the letters too. If we see small things that are problems, we think format issues or things with layout or spelling or whatever, we'll usually drop you a note too and say, hey, did you see this? Is that really what you want? I mean, because sometimes people do. Sometimes people, they use it to stand out. So we just want to make sure we're mailing what you want your customers to see, or prospective customers.
Can I upload a mail merged file that's already merged and have it get printed?
You can do that, but that's not ideal. I mean, we support that model too, but the reason why we don't do that often is imagine if you're doing a really big job, like 50,000 pieces. The size of that PDF.
No, I'm talking about if it was like a couple hundred pages max, like a 3-page letter going to 100 people already merged. I got a PDF because we have a software program that does personalized QR codes and landing pages
Mhm.
that does the merge for it as part of it because it's pre-populating with people's Google reviews and other cool stuff. So that one, it has to do the merge to generate the QR code and the landing page link. So, but those we send like 100 at a time.
Yeah, we do some. We have a drug testing company. We do something like that for where they'll drop different letters or letters with different page counts and different folders, and we actually scrape them up and mail them. Um, the trick for the trick if we're doing documents like where some are 1 pages, some are 2 pages, some are 3 pages, is we have to lay down the two-dimensional barcodes so the inserter knows how to deal with that. We do, yeah, we do have another interesting application that's a first for the industry. We've got something called Speedy. So it's at www.zairmail.com/speedy. And Speedy is a desktop icon. So you can take a letter, even one piece, you can drop it on that icon and it'll mail it.
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
Sure, yeah. So it's a desktop icon. And so, for example, you compose a letter in Word, you save it. Then you take your letter, you drop it on the icon. It asks you, do you want to upload this? Do you want to send it? You say, I want to send it. It's going to ask you for the address. If you've sent to that person before, you can use a pull down. If you haven't, you type it and you push the button and off it goes. It goes in the mail.
That is absolutely incredible. How long has Zairmail been in existence?
Since 9999.
Nice anniversary date.
Yeah.
That is absolutely awesome. Is there a limit to how many you can send?
No, we haven't found a limit.
Is
Mainly because of this distributed production network. So if we have too much demand, we could spread it across the network. So it turns out not to be an issue.
Can I do lumpy 3-dimensional mail?
Yes. Yes, you
But I
can.
would imagine then, like if I was saying add a wooden coin in here, I'd have to ship them to whoever was printing for me.
Exactly. Yeah. So that with the three-dimensional mail is not a problem. We just need to coordinate because we need to make sure that the fulfillment piece is where the mail, is going to be
Yeah.
produced. Yeah. But we have people that do that sometimes, Starbucks cards, wooden coins.
Yep.
I have somebody doing a stuffed animal, it's like
That is fantastic. Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
I really like solving the technical problems. I like the marketing piece because I've spent a career in marketing. So that, being able to use those skills and help educate people and make their marketing more effective. But I also like the technical piece, being able to visualize a problem and work with a customer to come up with a solution and then turn it into something that'll make it happen. And so we spent a lot of time. I mean, we do direct mail. We're a technology-enabled service provider, but at the core, we're a software company. That's what we do is solve problems using software.
That is awesome. Who's an ideal client for you?
Ideal client would be, well, so the ideal client would be somebody, a customer who wants to send between 30,000 to 50,000 pieces of mail a couple of times a week where it's strategic to their business. And so we can set that up systematically. We actually got a product called Flights, where it's like a headless version of the product. We get a database, we get a letter, we automatically tee these up and send them out on a regular basis. So that's in an ideal world, we love that application and we've automated it completely. But with that said, I mean, we're traditionally small to medium business, so we handle all different kinds of small medium business, realtors, mortgage brokers, independent insurance agents. We see it all.
Is there a minimum in terms of quantity I have to send per week or on a regular basis?
There is no minimum quantity. We'll send even one letter, but there is a minimum charge through Zairmail of $149. With
Is it 149 bucks like per campaign?
Yes.
Okay, so then it wouldn't make sense for me to send one if I'm paying $149 for one letter. It would make sense.
What I was going to say is with Speedy, there is no, you just pay for one letter. I mean, there's no minimum at all. So Speedy, if you're sending a letter, you're dropping your letter on that desktop icon, you're going to pay for one letter. There's no minimum. But if you're doing one, so the model is, we're talking about one-to-many versus one-to-one. If we're one-to-many, which is direct mail, then there's a minimum for that type of campaign because I have to set it up. But if you're doing one-to-one using Speedy, those are all get aggregated and they send out as batches that I create. So so there's no issue with that at all.
What's the minimum outside of Speedy when it's not one-to-one?
$149.
Got it. So I would need to be mailing does that include printing and postage?
It does.
Okay. So I would want to be mailing probably 200 letters would be 150 bucks in postage. Okay. So I could
we have people who send smaller than that too. I mean, there's really, I mean, when you think about, well, yeah, it's more complicated, made more complicated by the Postal Service. So if you are using 500 or more pieces, you can use an indicia and that job qualifies for pre-sort discounts. If you're between 250 and 500 pieces, then you can use an indicia, but there's no pre-sort discounts. If you're below 250, you have to use a live stamp. So at each of those tiers, the price goes up a bit based on the way postage is set up.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah, but we'll work with you. I mean, if you've got a special job and say you're always doing 500 pieces, and this week you got one that's 100 pieces, we'll make it work.
Awesome. Well, I greatly appreciate your time. This is incredibly informative. Where is the best place for folks to go to learn more about Zairmail and Speedy?
Yeah, www.zairmail, like airmail with a Z on the front, .com is the place to go. There's a button on the front where if you've never used Zairmail and you've never used direct mail, it's like a wizard. It'll just guide you through. They've got videos there. If you go to www.zairmail.com/speedy, you can download the Speedy app. The Speedy app, just so you know, the Speedy app was designed to take the place of a postal meter. So if you use Pitney Bowes, you use stamps.com, use anything like that, Speedy's a much better solution.
Awesome. Well, this has been Seth Greene with Wilson Zehr from Zairmail.com and Zairmail.com/speedy. Wilson, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Seth. Really appreciate that time.
Thanks, everybody, for watching or listening. We will talk to you or see you next time.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.